When I was a kid, I suffered with extreme social anxiety. When I was 12 years old, my uncle, who was my father figure, passed away suddenly. He was only 42 years old, and it was a shock to the entire family. And I don't know what it was about this particular event, but it basically dialed the already existing social anxiety I had up to like 10. I couldn't interact with anyone. I didn't want to leave my house. It was very, very hard for the small friend group that I did have to actually get me out and about. And I think because, some kids could see I was awkward in front of other people, kids have a tendency to target people like that, right? I also was covered in acne as well. I was one of those kids where they had acne so bad that you would feel sorry for them walking past them. And my social anxiety from feeling ugly, from just having the social anxiety from the trauma of, my uncle's passing, it was so bad, and I didn't want to see people so bad that I was actually late to school every single day because I couldn't get myself out the door, because I used to dread each day, dread interacting with people. And the interesting thing about this was it was so bad that I never really spoke to people. So the social skills I should have been building up at school, which is normal for kids to be building up at school, I didn't really build them up. Didn't really have a best friend. I had, acquaintances. I couldn't speak to girls either in school. Like, I was so shy and so nervous. And it was funny because I was actually quite fortunate. I don't know what it was, but there was like one or two girls over my time in high school that actually fancied me, apparently. I heard through people. But I couldn't do anything about it because I had so much insecurity. I was doomed, or at least I thought, to be trapped forever in my own prison made of my own insecurities. Like some sort of force holding me back, when I know I do want friends, and I know I do want, to have a girlfriend, or, to, even just casually date someone, but I just couldn't do it because I was so trapped. And this carried on for quite a few years. And I come to a few different learning experiences from that and how I basically got over it, which is what this video is about today. So looking back, what I was suffering from was something called the spotlight effect. And what the spotlight effect is a psychological term, which basically means that we assume the spotlight is on us. And we think that people are paying attention to us way more than they actually are. So for instance, if you go to a gym and it's your first time going to the gym, you probably assume that you're going to be judged by other gym members, and you stay away from certain areas of the weights, maybe areas of the weights that you don't really know how to use. Maybe, you stay away from like the floor area where all the free weights are. If you do end up going, and the reason why is because you don't want to embarrass yourself, right? Using a piece of equipment that you don't really know how to use. But really, no one cares in the gym. Everyone is there concentrating on their own workout. There's not too many people there who are concerned about what everyone else is doing. But that is a good example of the spotlight effect. And in reality, most people are too concerned with their own day-to-day, what they are currently doing, how their current emotions are, what happened to them 5 minutes ago. They're worried that everyone else is actually judging them. And they also are suffering from the spotlight effect as well. So basically, we're just a bunch of awkward people trapped on a globe who are all worried that we're all judging each other, right? It's pretty crazy when you think about it like that. But that fact in itself doesn't make it any less painful, right? It's still real fear that you're experiencing, still real social insecurity. And the only real way to get over this is you can do a lot of different self-help. You can do meditation. You can do, reframing your thoughts and all this about what you think of social, what you think it's going to happen in social situations. But the best way to overcome this is actually exposure therapy. So you can do exposure therapy in a bunch of different ways. I'm using the term exposure therapy, but I don't actually mean official exposure therapy where you go to a therapist. What exposure therapy is you expose yourself to something that you're very afraid of. So, exposure therapy for a person who has a flying phobia, they don't like to go on planes, would be to go on a plane. Exposure therapy to somebody who has social skills problems or suffers with severe social anxiety, they've got to get in social situations. Now, everything's building blocks, and you don't just want to start at the highest level of building blocks. You've got to do it very, very slowly. So for me, what I did was every time I took a trip to, the town center, I would, I would buy something from a shop. I'd make just a small bit of small talk with the cashier, the person on the register, right? Just so I could use my voice a little bit. Secondly, I got a bar job, and I actually got a bar job. It wasn't intentional to deal with my social anxiety. I just needed money, right? And it was like the most available job at the time. And I got this bar job, and it put me in a social situation a lot of times. There's people coming to the bar, you have to interact with them to take their order. You have to interact with the other staff members. The staff members are usually very, very social. So if you're suffering with social anxiety, I highly recommend that you get a bar job. And what the crazy thing is that in a bar job, you can have so many more interactions in a typical day than a very social person can have in an entire week, right? So it's about cramming the most amount of experience that you can into the shortest time frame to basically teaching you to speak again and to be social, or to be social for the first time in your life. Picture somebody, a baby who hasn't ever walked. They don't start running immediately. They take the baby steps, they fall over. They take the baby steps, they fall over. And when you're in a situation like working in a bar job, or working in a pub, or some sort of environment like that, hospitality, you are forced to take these steps, and they're only going to be small. And this over time had such a dramatic effect because it was helping me overcome the most basic of social skills, right? Saying hello to people, asking for their order. When you get the order from them, can you add a bit more into the conversation? How's the day going? And it teaches you to become a master of small talk as well. Being able to start serving someone at the bar, as you're making their drink, just say something, just an offhand comment to them. The last person who ordered this drink, I had to end up carrying them out there. Ha 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 ha, they're now laughing, right? And just those little tiny steps there encourage you to become a much more social person. And the final point in this video is, most people believe that you either have social skills or you don't have social skills. And while that's kind of true, people who do have social skills, it's a sword which continuously needs sharpening. So I would class myself, I'm early 30s right now, I would class myself as an extremely social person who's very competent in social situations. However, I run a business as well. And sometimes when the work is very, very intense, I don't end up speaking to people for a little while. Maybe it's like 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks of isolation. Maybe I'll just be speaking to, my girlfriend in that time. But what happens is I lose the ability to actually speak to people. It's the weirdest thing. So next time I go out to a social event, if I'm not warmed up and I haven't actually had any conversations over those 2 weeks period, I'll be like stumbling all over my words. I won't be able to get a sentence together. I'm stuck at small talk and won't be able to make eye contact. I'll feel uncomfortable. I won't be able to lead conversations, all because I've not implemented continuous practice. So I'm trying to dispel this myth that you have social skills or you don't have social skills. You can have social skills, but you can lose them rapidly as well. You must continually be sharpening the sword, interacting with different people. So look at your environment. is there a way that you could actually put yourself in more of a social environment where these interactions happen? Are you working from home at the moment and life pretty much sucks when you're working from home because you get no social interaction? Maybe you need to change job, right? Maybe you need to start attending some sort of social club or something like that. What helped me as well, I attended boxing, MMA, all these different combat sports because I like things like that. And there's a lot of bravado in there. And it's great to have the bravado because it brings you out of your shell and lets you talk with other people. And I think if you just do some of these things here, it will tremendously dissipate that social anxiety, that feeling of fog, that feeling that you aren't doing the things which you want to do because something's holding you back. It's just anxiety, right? Realize that there's a spotlight effect going on. No one really cares. But me telling you that is not going to make you feel any better. You just got to have the knowledge of that. Realizing that you're going to need to expose yourself to some of these things that you're afraid of. It is the best way to achieve improving your social skills. Thirdly, as well, the sword needs sharpening every day. You've got to continually practice. And can you set your life up so the sword is getting continuously sharpened without you having to put much effort in it? So the habit is getting built. I'm going to leave you with a few of those thoughts today. But if you're watching this video, hopefully you got something out of it. And I want you to start right now by commenting something below this video. You've probably, if you're anything like me, you probably never commented on any videos or anything like this. So I want you to comment something on this under this video. Comment either what you took away from the video or what you intend to do with the knowledge that you've just acquired. Even share your experience if you like. Hope you enjoyed this video. Have a fantastic day.